The king didn't just marry that widow as his seventh wife. He went on to marry an eighth wife the following year and a ninth the year after. Chief Martins was forced to confront reality when Remy finally confessed everything she had endured in her marriage. By then, he was left with only the mansion and a few assets. He sold everything he had and relocated to the northern part of Nigeria to start life all over again. "Oh, Dad, I'm so sorry this is happening to us," Remy cried as she hugged him. "It's all right, Remy. I'll be fine," he assured her. After visiting her father, Remy also went to see Lara, intending to invite her to the king's coronation ceremony. 11 years ago, you invited me to this same occasion. I met the king there. He proposed to me, and that was the beginning of the worst mistake of my life. Now, I'm inviting you," Remy said with a faint smile. "Remy," Lara smiled back, "even if I didn't want to attend, I would still go because of you. The twins are 10 already and they LLB part of the ritual this year, dancing in a circle around the king and touching the crown." Remy smiled. "Time really flies," she added. "But there's something you should know," Lara said. "We met our landlord last week. He just came back from the United States and called for a meeting with the tenants." Remy listened quietly. "When I walked into that meeting on Saturday, I saw Emmanuel." Lara paused. "Which Emmanuel?" Remy asked quickly. "Mama's son Emmanuel. He's the landlord," Lara replied. "He just returned with his wife from the US. They had a baby girl a few months ago. He told me Mama died 7 years ago. He got married 5 years ago, and they struggled to have a child. The baby is their first. Emmanuel has really changed. He's wealthy and even more handsome. He invited my husband and I for dinner." "It's okay, Lara," Remy interrupted softly. "I think I should go now." Weeks later, the king's coronation ceremony took place. As usual, it was colorful. The palace was filled with guests wearing similar attires, dancers performed, and the ritual was carried out. Children aged 10 to 18 danced around the king and touched his crown. But the next day, the king fell gravely ill. Doctors were called to the palace and treatment began. Remy assumed it was due to age until the king summoned her for a serious conversation. "I'll recover," he said, "but a sacrifice must be performed, and it must be done by the one who caused the abnormality. If not, I may die." "Why are you telling me this?" Remy asked. "Because you were the biggest mistake of my life," the king snapped. "The chief priest consulted the gods and they pointed to you and your bastards." "How dare you?" Remy fired back. "How dare you call my children bastards? They were never supposed to perform the ritual or touch my crown. They are not mine," he shouted. "You're sick," Remy replied in anger. "I don't blame you. I blame myself for stooping so low to marry someone like you. I'm warning you," the king continued. "When the chief priest returns with your bastards from performing the sacrifice, I want you out of this palace." "Where are my children?" Remy demanded. "They're correcting the mistake they made. When they return, the only mercy I'll show you is to let you leave quietly. Otherwise, you'll be disgraced out," he threatened. A week later, in Lara's living room in Lagos, Remy walked in with the twins. Lara led the boys away so the women could talk. "Can I get you something to drink? Juice?" she asked. "Lara, I'm doomed," Remy said. "Thank you for standing by me. I never knew I was pregnant when I broke things off with Emmanuel. I didn't know," she cried. "It's okay, Remy," Lara said, trying to console her. Tears pouring down, Remy continued, "God punished me on purpose. Let's think of what to do. I didn't treat Emmanuel well. I was greedy and selfish. Where is the wealth and power I wanted? Where is it? I never enjoyed one day of that marriage I suffered. Everything will be fine," Lara assured her. "How do I face Emmanuel?" Remy asked. "How do I say sorry? Where do I even begin? This is a disaster." Lara eventually called Emmanuel to explain everything. He didn't believe her. He said Remy was not straightforward and the only proof would be a DNA test. The test was done and confirmed the boys were his. A meeting was arranged in a private lounge, just the two of them. "I'm so sorry, Emmanuel," Remy began. "I know I wronged you. Please forgive me." Emmanuel looked at her. "Ramelkin, I thought you had a plan for your life. You said your marriage must be built on solid rock, and that being with me was like building on sand where a flood could wash everything away. So tell me, Remy, what happened to that rock? Was it also washed away?" Remy couldn't reply. Tears rolled down her face. "If they weren't my children, you wouldn't be here apologizing," Emmanuel said bitterly. "How would a whole queen admit fault?" Remy finally spoke. "There was no rock anywhere. The marriage, the palace, the title, it was all a lie. If the children weren't yours, I'd still be in that hell I called marriage, crying every day and thinking of you. I was sinking. Every day I died a little. The foundation was sand and I kept sinking." She cried harder. "I'm sorry, Emmanuel." Emmanuel replied, "I discussed with my wife before coming here. She has agreed to accept my children as hers if that's okay with you. I won't marry two wives and I won't betray her. You once told me God would send me a good wife and he did." Remy bowed her head in shame as he continued. "I'm fine with co-parenting. If you want them with you, I'll provide accommodation and support. If you want them with me, I'll care for them and give you enough to start over. Think about it and tell me which option you choose." "Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you for forgiving me," she whispered. Remy later traveled to see Chief Martins in the north and told him everything. He was overwhelmed with guilt. "Mum warned me not to let your greed destroy my happiness," Remy cried beside him. "So tell me, Dad, where is the wealth, the status, the fake standard? Are you telling me they weren't washed away?" "I'm sorry, my daughter," Chief Martins said. "I'm so sorry." Lara and Chief Martins regretted their decision. Everything is not about money, and the worst part is for you to write someone off, as no one knows tomorrow. They also realized that the worst thing you can ever do to yourself is by doing competition with yourself. The end.